How's it going? Hans Schock here with Go Tiny Be Free at the property here, the cottages at Pine Lake. Right here, I am in front of the south side of the lake, the very entrance. You're probably familiar with this shot. It's been in a lot of the pictures and images of the property. You can see the leaves now have kind of all dried up and fallen out of the trees, and now just the undergrowth below is kind of remaining as far as any kind of foliage or whatever. So that'll be getting cleared out here in the next week or two, weather depending and all. But today I actually want to talk to you about the rentals. A lot of people had some questions about rentals, and I wanted to address them here because I got some exciting information to share about the rentals and kind of what a tiny house rental on this property is kind of look like. Again, to kind of give you a little background on the property, initially we had a lot of people who were very opposed to any kind of rentals on the property. They didn't want to be next to their neighbor. You're having some people that kind of coming and going every single day, a new neighbor, not know who they are, where they're from. Not familiar with Alabama, not familiar with how the property works, not familiar with how tiny houses work. So, a little bit legitimate concern. So from the beginning, we said, no, okay, we don't want to have that issue. We want to have a peaceful, harmonious, very tight-knit community here. So we were not going to allow rentals at all. But I was kind of surprised how many people actually had expressed interest in tiny house rentals. And the more that I think about it, it makes a lot more sense. I'm kind of share with you a little bit about that to kind of help maybe change some people's perceptions as well in their mind about what a tiny house rental might look like. So first of all, these are the 10 lots, okay? We talked about what we're going to do. What we're going to make available is up to 10 lots in the property, right? There's 54 lots total. 10 of those 54 we're going to set aside for the potential use to be an Airbnb rental. Now, that can be a full-time rental where it's just like a passive income stream for somebody. Maybe it's part of their retirement plan. They're looking to, they're getting older in years, or they just don't like their job and they want to be able to utilize a tiny house and some Airbnb income to kind of supplement their monthly income, their retirement income. Or it could be somebody who's just starting out in the world. They have a little bit of money set out on the side, not enough to buy a 3-bedroom house, something like that, and create some kind of rental income. But they can basically use that same money they would use as a down payment for a typical house, put that towards a tiny house, buy it in full, put it here on the property, and be able to put it on Airbnb and start renting it out and making money that way. And again, tiny houses are so diverse and so versatile. You could be here for a few years, then you can go ahead and take your house with you. You can sell your house. I mean, it's yours. So there's so many advantages to what a tiny house can offer for people. And really, that's what Go Tiny Be Free, when I started this whole thing 9 years ago, my company, Go Tiny Be Free, that's what it was about. I saw tiny houses as a solution, not just for one problem in life, not just for, to give you mobility or to give you your own home at a cheaper price or to be able to cut down your bills, but to be used as a tool for all different circumstances. I mean, a tiny house is such a great solution. Yes, it's a great solution for a primary residence, for long-term living. You have that mobility. You can take it around. You can move with it. You can sell it. You can pass it on to your heirs, or you can leave it there. The other option, it can also be somebody who wants to use it for a business. A tiny house is a small space. It could be like a little small mobile office. Put it in your backyard. Set up a little studio here where you've got basically a lakefront property for your office. That'll work too. You could turn it into a gym or yoga studio. You can make it into a paint studio. You could make it into, one of your hobbies. It could be a workshop. I mean, so many different purposes and utilizations. Because it's such a tiny space and it's mobile, you can do so much with it. And I've seen so many of these great ideas, come to fruition and people utilize this in that way. So again, that's what is so cool about tiny houses. It's not just one solution for one problem. It's a multiple problem solution. So that's what we want to kind of incorporate here in this property, is trying to figure out how can we use tiny houses to help people create more income, make them, cut their expenses down, have them free up some income and some of the discretionary income so they can actually enjoy their life more and spend more of that money less on housing and more on enjoying themselves and on enjoying their life. How can we help people become closer neighbors and more friendly with people and create this unity instead of all this division that we see in our world today? I mean, tiny houses is such a great tool to do all these different things. And we want to be able to utilize as much of that as possible here in this property, to as much as somebody wants to do. And again, freedom. If you want to have your own little space and do your own little thing, more power to you. That's great too. This property is going to be serene and beautiful, and the rentals are going to be separated here in the front from the rest of the property. So if you want to have your own space and do your own thing and just be quiet and peaceful, more power to you. That's great. There again, if you're somebody also who is coming here to this property for that, maybe you live in Huntsville, maybe you live in some other city or whatever within driving distance, and you're just you need somewhere to get away to on the weekends. And having a tiny house part-time so to speak, on the weekends, or maybe once a month, or during school holidays, you want to be able to get away, you know, jump in your car and come out here and just be able to get away from it all for a weekend and for a week or whatever, then these lots right here will be perfect for you as well, because you can be here when you've got the time, lock it off on your Airbnb calendar so that you've got that space for you, and the rest of the year you can make it available for people to actually rent out and help offset some of those expenses that you're going to have. Now, again, I can't guarantee you're going to make a whole bunch of it, that you're going to make a whole bunch of money with an Airbnb rental. I can't guarantee you'll make any money whatsoever. But the option is there for you. And also, we do want to help people, because I understand this is maybe a new venture for some people who maybe have never gone into the Airbnb world. So I'll get into a little bit later some ways how we're going to help people get started with putting a tiny house on Airbnb to kind of help give them the best chance of success. Because obviously, we want people with these 10 homes here to be able to get those houses rented, because the more successful they are, the more successful the property is, and the happier everybody is altogether. So more exposure we get for the property, and just the happier place is going to be. So we want everyone to be successful in their living situation, successful in their financial situation, successful in their psychological, mental health. I mean, all these things we want to be. We want to do whatever we can do within reason to kind of help people out. We're here as a resource, and we've got some tools and some experience and some expertise in some areas. So if we can utilize that, and we want to reach out into the group of the 54 people who will be living here as well, because they're all going to have different backgrounds and experiences and expertises and skills and talents that we also want to tap into as well. So when you become a resident here, we want to find out your background if you're willing to share. What did you used to do for a living? What are some of your hobbies? What are you good at? What do you want to help other people with, whether it's for free as a volunteer or for paid services as well. Maybe you're a computer programmer and or just an IT specialist, and the people on this property will have IT components. You're going to have computers, iPads, iPhones, all these different devices they have these days, smart devices. We may need someone on the property who can kind of help, troubleshoot and kind of help people out. Maybe someone can do that for free, or maybe they can do it for a paid service if there's enough demand for that as well. So, we want to help create a little marketplace here to kind of help people, create more income while living on the property, help each other out, and be able to basically kind of go to the other people on the property first before going outside the property, to go find somebody who's, in the area who can help you with these different services. If someone else can provide the services here, like your neighbor, hey, if we can connect you together to kind of make that work, we're all about doing that. So that's part of the vision we have for this community, to really make it a community, not just a bunch of houses in a subdivision, okay? So kind of got off track here a little bit, but let me get back to the rental situation. So again, if you're somebody who's looking for a second house, this would be a great place to put a second house. You can have a tiny house here on the lake. And when you have that extra day or that extra weekend or whatever, that extra week that you want to come out here for, block it off in your Airbnb calendar, boom, come on out here, and you've got your place right here ready for you. You can enjoy the lake, enjoy the serenity, enjoy the beautifulness of this property, and then, pack up and head back home to your home and get back to resuming your normal life. So again, this property, I hope it can provide a lot of solutions for a lot of different people in a lot of different situations. So let's touch a little bit more on the rental situation. One of the other benefits that I see to having rental homes on this property that I hadn't really thought about initially, that would actually be a drawback not having them here, is everyone here is going to be living in a tiny house, right? By definition, that's less than 400 square feet. And, a lot of these tiny houses are probably going to be somewhere around 200 square feet, might be studios, and might be one bedrooms. Not going to have a lot of extra space in the home for additional people, for guests and things to kind of sleep over. Maybe you buy a tiny house here because you've got a student in town going to UAH or Oakwood University or A&M or Calhoun or one of the colleges we have here in town, and they're living in student housing, no place for you to come and spend the night, so you're going to have to either get a hotel or something like that. And this is actually a real scenario that someone has contacted me about, because they do have a child here going to school, maybe the next 2, 3, 4 years, and they want to be able to come out here and visit, and touch base and everything else and support their child. But they'd also like to have their own space, perhaps, to kind of do their own thing, because while their student is in school doing their thing, why be in a hotel for a day or two or a weekend or a week when you can have a tiny house right here of your own that you can kind of customize exactly how you want it, have a nice peaceful space, and do your own thing. And then when your student is off doing their student activities, when they have free time, they can come visit you, and then they can spend time in an Airbnb rental as opposed to having to stay on your couch, which you may or not have an extra couch in your tiny house. So long story short, rental tiny houses on this property can provide that additional housing for guest housing for your guests and for your visitors, so that you don't have to put them up in your house. So that's going to be huge. Imagine having 10 different tiny houses potentially available. People can kind of pick and choose which one they want based on the size, based on the style. And if you've got regular visitors coming, they can choose a different one every single time. So, one trip they want to stay in the Western themed tiny house. The next trip they want to stay in the steampunk tiny house. The next visit, they want to stay in the fishing, themed tiny house, or the bigger tiny house, the smaller tiny house, or one with a loft, one without a loft. I mean, so many different options. Incredible Tiny Homes sells all different types of tiny houses that will fit on this property and look great here. So again, guest housing, I think, is going to be huge. That's going to be a huge benefit for the actual residents living here long term, because they'll have a place where these people can kind of come, stay in a tiny house, but not their tiny house, because there's more likely not going to be enough room, because you're probably going to decorate and set up the house for your own living, not to have guests come in once, twice a year. That'd be kind of a waste of space, right? And we have 10 houses right here for that purpose, where they can just get online, go to Airbnb.com, and find that tiny house, and go ahead and book it. It could even be last minute, and it's going to be sitting there waiting for them and available. Depending on how many we have, and how many other nights are already booked from other people. So that's going to be huge. Another thing, this property is going to be beautiful. I mean, it already is beautiful, but once we really get the lake really done and full, and I mean all the tiny houses in here, this is going to be a spectacle. I mean, people are going to want to come here, and they're going to want to see this thing, and they're going to want to experience tiny house living. And we're only going to have 54 lots, so not everyone's going to be able to experience it, because once it sells out, I mean, we're done. So they won't be able to experience that here. So, but if we've got 10 rental homes on this property, then those people who hear about this community, want to see what it's all about, want to experience it, want to just, try it out for a night or two, they will have those 10 homes potentially to be able to go on Airbnb, rent it, book it, and be able to experience what it's like to live in a tiny house on a lake here in Huntsville, Alabama. So very excited. This is just going to be great for the community. It's going to be great for the residents on site. It's going to be a win-win situation. Okay, some more detail. And while I'm in the camera here, what we're going to do, okay, again, we're going to separate the two communities. So you're going to have the rental lots right here on the front part of the property on the lake, and right over here. Okay, this is the southeast corner of the lake, and so right here is the area we're going to be putting in the new gate. We're going to put a gate across the property. It's going to be fenced and gated off. You're going to have a special code and or a remote, clicker or whatever to kind of be able to get in and get access to the rest of the property. And that's also going to restrict people from, being able to use the amenities, the clubhouse, the laundromat, the lounge, the fire pit, all those things that we're going to have behind the fence for long-term residents only. But for you people who are looking to do a rental, we are going to provide a hot tub for these 10 lots up here potentially. For these potential 10 lots, we're going to provide a hot tub so that your guests in the Airbnb, you can advertise it on your listings and all, and they'll have the hot tub, because that's kind of a popular thing on Airbnb. You want to have access to a hot tub. So we will provide that. I don't have all the details on which hot tub we're going to do or how big. It's not going to be, for 20 people or anything. We will have a hot tub. You will be able to advertise in your listings that they'll have shared access to for this property. And, it should have a lake view as well. We're going to try and see if we can find some space to make it have a nice lake view. So that's going to be pretty awesome as well. Now, so let's talk some more about the amenities and things. So again, I anticipate we're going to attract a diverse range of people who want to put their house on Airbnb. Like I said, you're going to have some people who are just looking for a second home and want to just rent out the extra space just to kind of offset some of their income. You're going to have some people who have other Airbnbs and they're going to want to put some tiny houses here for that reason. You're going to have, everything in between. These people may be experienced with Airbnb and with real estate investing and rentals, and they may not have any experience whatsoever, and they're kind of maybe intimidated by the idea of, buying a tiny house, spending all that money for it, and then having other people that they don't know, rent this thing out and create some additional income. That might be kind of scary for them. So here's what we're going to do. A couple different things. So first of all, I'm going to create in fact, I'm in the process of already doing this already, a direct booking website, okay, for the property. So therefore that, we've got a large sign out here out front that we're going to put out. It's going to say the cottages at Pine Lake, and it's going to have, tiny houses, for rent, or, tiny houses for sale or whatever. It's going to have signage from the highway that people will be able to see as they're driving past. And so we're going to get literally drive-by traffic of people who are looking to stay in a tiny house. They may be in the middle of a road trip looking for a place to stay for the night, and there's no hotels around here whatsoever. Or they may be just, put in the back of their mind, going back and forth to work or whatever, and just constantly seeing it. And then eventually you're just going to, go ahead and look into it, refer their friends and family to it or whatever, because they'll see, oh, tiny houses for rent, and it's going to get the word out basically by drive-by traffic, okay? Also, we're going to link, of course, to this page from our main website, which gets a lot of traffic from people looking into buying in this community, just curious about tiny house communities in general, curious about tiny houses in Huntsville. So all this additional traffic of literal drive-by traffic and online traffic, we're going to be directing to this page on our website to basically give you exposure to your tiny house for rental purposes, okay? So, and with this direct booking website, if you're familiar with Airbnb or not, they do charge a good amount of fees. Of course, you got your cleaning fee on there, but I'm talking about the actual fees that they charge the user and they charge the host. So you may maybe you rent your tiny house for $100 a night. Well, you don't get $100 of that. The guest has to pay like $140 or something. So Airbnb charges them on top of what you're charging them a pretty good fee in order to get their. They charge them a pretty good fee on top of what you're charging for the night, and then they also turn around and charge you a fee for the ability to use their platform as a host. And of course, they also charge you for the processing fee for the credit card. So there's quite a few fees in there. Now, it still can be a very lucrative business, and it's, again, you're getting exposure to the Airbnb market. People are searching for tiny houses, and so you will get people who are searching the platform to find you, and you'll get some rentals there potentially. However, if we can eliminate those fees for you, that means you can actually charge less and still make the same amount of money, and your guests will pay less and be able to have the same kind of experience as well. So everybody wins except Airbnb. So if you are very passionate about making much of income for Airbnb, then by all means just exclusively stay on Airbnb. But we're going to give you the ability on this property to have a direct booking website where they can go on there, and your only cost for using that website is going to be the credit card processing fees in order to process the transaction. They're not going to have So of course there will be transaction fees, because people are using credit cards. There's like a 3%, charge or whatever. So there are going to be some minimal fees, but it's going to be substantially less than whatever Airbnb, VRBO is even worse. Booking.com is even worse. I think they charge like up to 17 or 18% and more of the actual rate that you charge goes directly to them for just providing you access to their network. Okay, so anyway, that's going to be a huge bonus right off the bat. So this is an additional perk that we're going to offer. We're going to have different packages available for people that if you want to get this additional exposure and advertising, I'd love to have all these people utilizing that, where we have one page with all the different Airbnb rental homes on there, so people can kind of go through and see the different options we've got all in one space. And therefore, because we're going to have people contacting us all the time saying, hey, I'd love to try a tiny house. Can I spend a night in one to kind of see what it's like? And we're like, yeah, go to the website. There's a whole page we have of rentals on the property that you can choose from in order to spend a night or two or a week or whatever, and try multiple. Stay for a night in this one, then stay for a night in the next one, because we've got all different types of tiny houses. I'm sure they won't be the exact same home, even if they are the exact same home, like they're all RJOs, for example. People are going to style them differently, so there's still going to be different tiny houses, and it'll get people's minds going of what you can do in a tiny house, because every tiny house is different. Because the space is so small, you kind of have to customize it exactly for you. And so everyone, and that's what Airbnb is really all about. People want the unique experiences, and that's what we want to help deliver, is this unique experience of a unique tiny house on a unique property. So again, I'm just excited about this opportunity. The more and more I think about it, I really see how this is going to be so incredible for the tiny home residents or owners who are buying these tiny homes to put on Airbnb, and for the rest of the community to be able to tap into that for their guests and kind of show off and let them see what tiny house living is all about them as well. And we can really get this message about tiny housing out to more people and expose them what a great idea it really is. If you didn't have rentals available for them to really try it out, they only get it to a point. You really have to experience tiny house living firsthand to really understand the joy and the benefit and the wonderful, just all the great things that come with it. So that's the advertising component of it, that we're going to try and help get people some additional exposure for their tiny house rentals by being able to feature them on the website. That's going to be linked to a sign on the front of the property, and to, of course, all the traffic we get online and from socials and direct interaction with potential future residents and things like that, and just curious people. The next thing we want to talk about now, you're also going to have people who are looking to do this, who've never done anything rental-wise, don't know anything about real estate, and maybe a little bit intimidated. Like, yes, they want to do that. Maybe they're only looking for a tiny house to have part-time, but it doesn't make sense for them to buy a tiny house and only live in it part-time of the year, whether it's second home or rental or whatever else. But if they had that option to create some additional income with it, then they can justify buying a tiny house to be able to have this experience and have a tiny house. But they don't know what they're doing and never done this before. For those kind of people, we're also going to offer something to kind of help them out, get their listing set up on the direct booking website and on Airbnb as well. So I suggest using both platforms. Use all the platforms that you can. Just know it's going to cost you more, to use these other services that they have, because you're basically got to pay them to use their services. So just know it's going to cost you more. But we're going to emphasize and kind of really push the direct booking website, because it's going to cost everybody less money, and it's going to be a better experience for everybody, with all the same benefits that you get from Airbnb, just not that huge network. We're going to have drive-by traffic and online traffic. So for those people who are either inexperienced or maybe you just don't have the time or desire to want to do something like this, you just want to get the income coming in and be able to, book off some of those dates so you can come here and use it when you want, but the rest of the time you want it hands off. You don't have time, you've got a busy family life, busy business, or busy job, and you don't have the time for it, but you want the benefit of doing that. Then we're going to put in a package for people like that as well, where we'll do the whole thing for you as far as setting up your listing on the booking website and Airbnb and other platforms. We will help set up the cleaners. We're going to help set up the maintenance work, the restocking of the toiletries and paper towels, and making sure that the linens are washed and all that kind of stuff. We will work out a package for people like that as well, because again, we want to help you be successful. Now, if you don't want that and you want to do all of yourself, more power to you. That's all in your wheelhouse. But one other perk I want to add as well, something I think it's going to benefit several, if not multiple residents on the long-term part of this property. Airbnbs need regular cleaning. After every guest, you got to have someone come in there and clean the unit out. We're kind of remote here, but I see it as an opportunity because now we got 44 long-term residents, and I'm sure there are people there within those 44 residents who would love to be able to create some additional income, cleaning tiny houses between guests, restocking toiletries, doing the laundry, towels and sheets, bedding. Maybe if people have got some skills for some repair type stuff, things are always breaking in a house. Whether you're a long-term resident or a short-term resident, there's always going to be a need for handymen. So I'm sure within this property, we will find people with the skills and expertise and experience that we talked about before to be able to want to do these kinds of things, for a fee for these tiny house owners. So that, again, they don't have to do it. It's all kind of hands off. So we'll set up a network of that where you can kind of reach out, and we'll have like a vendor list of people on the property who can do certain skills. And all you got to do is give them a call, let them know that you're one of the tiny houses in the front, and we can work out some different rates and things like that. You can work out directly, or we can maybe do like a group discount type thing. So we'll have that ability, and I'm sure those people on this property would love to make some extra income, utilizing the skills and the talents they already have to kind of help other people out on the property, and everybody, it's a win-win situation. So that's going to be another great perk. So if you're interested in making some additional money from this property and you have some skills like that, make note of that. In fact, reach out to me if you want. If you'll email me, support@gotinybefree.com, or send me a message on one of the Facebook pages, the Cottages at Pine Lake Facebook page, and message me and let me know that you have these skills and you're going to be buying a tiny house on this property, and you want to kind of get in line to be one of those people that we can rely on to do the cleaning, to do the handyman work, to restock toiletries or laundry, things like that. Again, we'll have the laundromat on site, so you'll be able to just go to that laundromat, do the laundry, come back, and remake the beds and all that kind of stuff, general housekeeping type stuff. So I'm excited to be able to provide that opportunity for more people to, again, create more income, reduce expenses, more versatility, a more diverse group of people here, and uses for tiny houses. So go Tiny Be Free. I'm so excited about all these opportunities on the rental space. It's going to be great for guests, it's going to be great for visitors, it's going to be great for residents, and great for the overall community here and for the overall tiny house community in general to kind of see what is possible. How can you multiply your efforts together to unify and make something even greater than the individual parts? I'm real excited about this. There's more to come on this front. So just if you have more questions about rentals and how this is all going to work, feel free to reach out to me, and I'll be in the background putting together some blog posts, some more videos with more details on how this is all going to work and all. But just kind of keep them in the back of your mind if you are in the market for a tiny house for Airbnb purposes, that we've got you covered. We're gonna have some great options here. There's only 10 lots available though, so once these 10 lots go, there won't be any other options for putting rental homes on this property. So just want to make sure I stress that and get that out there. I know there are a lot of people out there who are thinking about this and thinking it over, so we have some contracts out on it, but I just want to make sure that we do have still some lots available. So if you're thinking about it, reach out, call Incredible Tiny Homes, and go ahead and figure out which house you want to make it work with. Again, any tiny house in these lots, we got some extra space here, so you can even do a Birmingham if you wanted to do it for Airbnb. That'll work too. A 34-foot tiny house, I believe, with lofts and all that kind of stuff. That'd be a great rental right there on the lake as well. So really, any incredible tiny home that they sell is going to work great as an Airbnb, I believe, here on the property, just because of what we've got. And everyone's got different tastes, different interests, and different numbers of people in their party. And they also are going to be coming back multiple times. So especially if they have a long-term resident and they got like their family visiting over and over again, different holidays or whatever, they're going to be wanting that different experience. Like, okay, well, we did the ABC tiny house this last time. Let's go to the XYZ one this time because we wanted a little different experience. We did that one last time; it was great, but I want to experience more different tiny houses. They're addicted to it, and they want to get more and more and more, right? So that's kind of how tiny houses is. As any of you who are following this channel probably understand, probably watching all of Amanda and Randy's videos on their incredible tiny homes YouTube channel because they're addictive, right? You start watching it, you want to know what's going to happen next. What's the next antic? What's the next crazy situation that's going to happen? What's the new special promo Randy's going to come out with? I mean, it's intoxicating, right? So it's awesome. So that's what tiny houses is. So anyway, I'm very excited. And please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. That's going to allow you to keep up to date with the latest updates on this rental situation, as well as additional developments of the property, more announcements, more pictures and information and things that we're doing on a constant basis. I'm really putting out a lot of videos out right now, almost about one a day. Tours of tiny houses that we're featuring, just updates of the property, and just lots of different things in response to people's questions and comments and information that people are coming in. When there's a lack of understanding or information on something, I'll try and put together a video about it to kind of help clarify and kind of help drive home the importance of something, or to kind of help explain or kind of visually show, the process, to kind of help people understand a little bit better and really, color and kind of paint in the full picture of what tiny houses are really all about. And if you'll click the like button on this video as well, that's going to help, the algorithm understand this is a good video, you liked it, and share it, and leave your comments down below. Let me know, what are your thoughts on the comment about this tiny house rental situation? Did I not cover something? Is there something else that you'd like more information about? Leave it in the comments below, and I will do my best to answer all the comments down below and further clarify if there's anything else that wasn't clear in the this tiny house video. So thanks again for watching. This is Hans Schaff signing out. Go tiny, be free, with the cottages at Pine Lake here outside of Huntsville, Alabama. Take care. We'll see you in the next video.